That Maryland couple at the center of the free-range parenting firestorm, charged with neglect for letting the kids walk home alone from the park. They're speaking out now in an ABC News exclusive after being cleared in one of the cases. ABC's David Wright has the story.
Meet the Meitivs of Silver Spring, Maryland, a suburban family that's had lots of unwanted attention because of how much freedom they give their kids.
The so-called free-range parents under fire.
Maryland parents are accused of child neglect after allowing their two kids to walk home alone.
Earlier this year, after the Meitivs allowed their kids, ages 6 and 10, to walk home from a local park unsupervised, Maryland Child Protective Services accused them of unsubstantiated child neglect. The Meitivs fought back, their case making national headlines. Then, this week, without explanation, the authorities caved.
You must be relieved.
Very much so.
Does this mean you're in the clear now?
We're hopeful or, cautiously optimistic that this means that they've changed their policy or, changed their minds and that we will be in the clear.
The Meitivs are what's known as free-range parents, allowing their children to wander outside the parental safety net. Controversial approach.
If you give a kid too much freedom, he may not learn how to socialize. And there's also the very real possibility that too little supervision can lead to actual danger.
But the Meitivs insist it's their call.
Our rights were violated. I mean, the Constitution very clearly protects parents' rights to raise their kids the way they see fit.
State and county officials won't comment on their case. The Meitivs are not completely in the clear. The kids picked up a second time in April and held for 5 hours.
You've still got another one hanging over your head.
We're not 100% sure what will happen if somebody calls the police again, seeing our kids walking around.
Rafi and Devora Meitiv are excited to start wandering again.
What happens when you see a police car? What do you think?
My first thought is, oh no, better hide.
Perhaps an understandable lesson, given the Meitivs' experience, the parents and the kids now hoping to be left alone. For Good Morning America, David Wright, ABC News, Silver Spring.
Okay, let's talk about this now with our parenting expert, Dr. Janet Taylor. A lot of people agree with the parents. They say, wait, the government has no right to step in here and tell me how to raise my kids.
Well, we live in a society governed by laws, and that extends to parenting practices. Most of us do not need a law or rule to tell us how to parent our kids, but unfortunately some do regarding education, access to health care, and making decisions about discipline.
Don't have to tell you what a debate this has been, not only on this program, but around the country, and people are on both sides of this saying, okay, I want my child to be self-reliant, and the other ones are saying on the other side of it, what is your take?
Yeah. Well, so parenting involves a lot of factors, and number one is discipline, which is teaching, but children need rules, and they also need to learn healthy curiosity in settings that do not make them afraid.
So to free or not to free, what is your advice to parents?
Well, number one, know yourself. Are you doing this because you want more free time or because you value teaching your kids independence? Know your children. Some kids are not ready to be by themselves. They're afraid. They don't know how to communicate enough or wouldn't if something happened, and also know potential pitfalls. So it's wonderful to teach your kids, but walk with them and take them on a trial run. Ask them what if questions so they feel confident and you can identify exactly what they need to be safe on the streets.
Janet, I was going to say, what about back in the day, decades ago, when my parents, like so many of us, were told, come back at supper?
Yep.
And we were allowed to do whatever we wanted.
And it didn't have a title.
Right.
It was like, that's what life was.
Right, exactly.
Well, I think there are fears that are excessive that aren't out there, but you do have to let your kids explore. But your parents also had consequences. You had other families looking out, and we spent more family time together. And I think we can't discount that fact that we need to get that together time, because that creates a sense of confidence and independence in your children.
You make a good point about other neighbors watching out for your kids. That's what seems so strange about this. Instead of the other neighbors saying something to the kids, saying, do you need any help? They call the police.
Right,
And that gets back to that whole lack of connection and communication, which needs to come back to parenting.
Right. I love this one tweet. Someone said about this whole issue about kids, enough, this is what you do, enough to learn, but not so much that they believe that they are in charge.
Right.
So,
because we know kids are never in charge.
And she said that was per her mom. So thanks for that, Bella. Thanks. Hey, Janet. Thank you.
Thank you.
The conversation, I'm sure, no doubt, will continue.